It is a Friday morning on the show. We got all those Friday feels. Oh, yes, we do. And those Friday feels come because it is Friday. It's a sunny day and all request Friday here on the show. If there's a song that you would like to hear a bit of, just let us know. You can shoot me an email, mike@570news.com, or when you call in to talk to us about our various stories on the show today, or you just want to call in a request, you can do that. Jen, who is our board operator, will be more than happy to make note of it, and we will play as many as we can throughout the show today before we call it a weekend at 1 this afternoon. That song, Blink 182's Rock Show, goes out to my buddy D, who is headed north to do some quote-unquote work up by the lake. Yeah, sure, there's work going on at the cabin up there, isn't there? I know what work means. It means the elbow gets bent a little bit. You might nail a board or two. You might apply a screw or three, and then you're going to sit there. You're going to enjoy the weather up by the water. Hope it's great for you. Safe travels, fellas, and thanks for making your request on this All Request Friday. I am so excited to be doing what I am about to do. You'll have to forgive me a moment here, as I'm actually going to do this on the air this morning. I'm going to remove the hat that I am currently wearing, and I'm going to set it way over here to my right. I am going to remove the scarf that I am wearing and put it way over here to my right, and I'm going to take off the jersey that I'm wearing right now. Don't worry. This is safe for all children. No beached whales around here as I get rid of this jersey and toss that over here to my right. And now I reach over here to my left. I pull out some vintage Dougie Gilmore Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. That's what's happening right now. And oh, life is suddenly so much better. Don't we feel better now? I know I feel better now. Yesterday, we were talking on the show about what the next challenge could be. I had said in my foolish, big-mouthed ways that I would, if our Farwell for Hire 50-50 jackpot reached $140,000, I said, you know what I'll do? I'll wear a jersey of the team that shall not be named, a scarf, and a hat of the team that shall not be named for an entire show. And you got the jackpot over $140,000 before the show started on Thursday morning. So I had to wear it all day Thursday. And then I asked you, what's the next challenge? Lisa came up with a pretty good idea. She said, why don't you challenge the Leafs fans out there and people that maybe like you a little bit? If the jackpot gets to $200,000 in the Farwell for Hire 50-50, you can take that jersey, that hat, and that scarf off. And I'm telling you, before the show today, even before 9 a.m., our jackpot skyrocketed past $200,000, more than $100,000 in the take-home prize. But I thought, out of fairness, I'll start the show with the paraphernalia of the team that shall not be named and remove it on the show to replace it with my Leafs jersey. The only thing left for us to do today is watch that jackpot grow. You are welcome to get in on the fun because somebody, I think we're getting into life-changing territory, aren't we? $103,732 currently in the take-home jackpot. The best part for me, not just taking off that ugly sweater, but that's how much money we have raised for cystic fibrosis research. Come on with your coming on. You are a beautiful, beautiful human being. You really are. And if you want a ticket, you can still get one. CF5050.ca. CF5050.ca. And you can get in on the fun for as little as $10. It only takes one purchase to win. Maybe you want to add another purchase. Doesn't matter. You've got until noon today 11:59 a.m. Okay, that's when we'll make the draw, and somebody is going to win a pretty big jackpot. We're going to watch the numbers climb all morning long. But thank you. Thank you to my fellow Leafs fans and good-hearted people. We showed those fans of the team that shall not be named who's really the boss around here, didn't we? Because we took that jackpot from about $160,000 when I left yesterday to now over $207,000, and it's just going to keep going. Thank you very much. I feel so much better all of a sudden. CF5050.ca if you want to get in on the fun before we make the draw at noon today. We'll take a break and come back with your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning. It's a great day, baby! Woo! This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
The way you do it, you play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working, that's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Hey, it is an all request Friday here on the program, and Mark wanted to hear some Dire Straits and Money for Nothing. You got it, because your request today is our command. We play your requests on All Request Friday here on the show. You'll get to hear 30 seconds or so of your favorite song or just a song you're in the mood to hear. We'll play as many as we can before we are done today at 1. And Money for Nothing. I wouldn't quite put it that way, but a lot of money for comparatively little. I mean, even if you spent $100 on Farwell for Hire 50/50 tickets, your return on that investment would be rather significant. Take-home jackpot, it's almost $105,000. Come on, almost $209,000 in the jackpot. It's up $2,000 since we started the show today. We are going to watch this thing move. We're going to have lots of fun with it. CF5050.ca, the website, if you would like to get a ticket. Let's get to your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning. We usually start the show with this, but I was a little busy undressing and redressing into more appropriate attire, at least more appropriate for a Leafs fan like me. Number 1 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Flair won't be there come September, the discount airline leaving the region of Waterloo International Airport, citing economic pressures. Number 2, U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs are still hitting most countries around the world. The U.S. Court of International Trade yesterday found Trump's use of an emergency power law to impose sweeping tariffs exceeded his authority, a decision Prime Minister Mark Carney had welcomed. But hours later, a federal appeals court temporarily paused that decision. We'll be talking more about it just after 9:30 this morning. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 today. Statistics Canada says the economy outperformed expectations in the first quarter of the year as businesses raced to get ahead of the looming tariffs from the United States. The agency says real gross domestic product grew at an annualized pace of 2.2% in the first quarter. That's 1/10 of a point higher than the previous quarter. And that topped StatsCan's own early estimate of 1.5% growth and a Reuters poll of economists calling for a gain of 1.7%. Number 4, Ontario members of provincial parliament are getting big boosts in pay and access to a pension plan under new legislation introduced at Queen's Park. The legislation was tabled by Finance Minister Peter Bethlen-Falvey yesterday and was passed in 13 minutes with support from all parties. NDP opposition House Leader John Van Thoff says the raises are necessary to make sure qualified candidates keep putting their names forward in provincial elections, many of whom would otherwise be taking huge pay cuts and giving up pensions if they ran for office. MPPs will now make $157,350 annually, up from the former salary of $116,550 salary that has been in place since 2009. Here's Minister Bethlen Falvey.
I know that many people across the province work tirelessly each day to put food on the table and pay the rent. We think this is the right thing to do. It's fair and reasonable. It'll be at 75% of the federal compensation. It's still less than a Toronto City Councillor will be paid or a Mississauga City Councillor. And we're going to work tirelessly each and every day, sometimes in different ways, to help all Ontarians.
Why now?
Well, if not now, when? This, as my colleagues have said, 16 years to have zero increase, I don't think is the right thing. And I think so today what we're doing is putting in place what I believe and my colleagues believe is the right thing to do and something that's very fair in the current environment.
It is a $40,000 raise. Number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, we are going to have a Stanley Cup rematch. The Edmonton Oilers defeated Dallas 6-3 last night to take the Western Conference Final in 5 games. The Oilers will face Florida in a rematch of last year's Cup Final won by the Panthers. Canada's hockey hopes are pinned on the Edmonton Oilers. We have not seen a Stanley Cup in this here country since 1993. And the team that won it that year is a team that I am all too familiar with after these last couple of days on the show. I finally got rid of their jersey, their hat, and their scarf that I had to wear as part of a challenge in our Farwell for Hire 50-50 draw. That's your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning, the 30th of May. How do you feel about the raises that members of provincial parliament have just voted themselves? A $40,000 increase, now making 75% of what a federal member of parliament makes. And by the way, Ontario members of provincial parliament, now the highest paid in the country. Look, the job should pay well. You shouldn't be struggling if you are one of our provincial legislators. I'm not convinced, though, that this was either the right approach or the right time. I've got thoughts, and if you do too, you're welcome to share them on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when each day's through.
What an appropriate day to play some Johnny Cash on the show when we're giving away a whole heck of a lot of cash before the show is done. We're going to give away more than $100,000. But that's not why. This is a request for my buddy Paul. It's also very appropriate to play for Paul today because Paul is one of the biggest Leafs fans that I know. And I know that he suffers along with me and the rest of us who are Leafs fans every year. Paul also loves his Johnny Cash. So as we score a little bit of a win ourselves as Leafs fans over the fans of the team that shall not be named, because we got rid of their jersey and put on our own jersey today. Johnny Cash and Walk the Line for Paul on this All Request Friday. As you heard during the Farwell Show 5 a few minutes ago, MPPs here in Ontario have voted themselves a very significant raise, a raise of $40,000. It's a raise of more than 30%. It takes them to an annual salary of $157,000 a year. Look, there are a couple of things here. First of all, I think you should be paid well, and I think that jobs, especially professional jobs that, like being a provincial legislator, should come with a pension of some sort. What I don't really care for in this regard is the approach to the raise. I understand that MPPs have not had a raise since 2009. Their salaries were frozen since then. But even at $116,000, which was the amount of money being earned before this raise, you're more than double the average salary in Ontario. You're still doing pretty darn well. Again, I get it. No raise since 2009, salaries frozen. But even at $116K, you were doing pretty okay. I don't think that you needed to retroactively make up all of it. Just start building in annual increases again. And so I don't really love the approach in this, right? And then getting a $40,000 raise when the average salary in Ontario is $54,000, almost 55, let's call it 55,000. And you get a $40,000 raise, or about 70% of what the average Ontarian is earning in a year is just your raise. Does that make you an above average Ontarian? What about a government by the people, for the people? Are you one of the people, or are you above the average people now? I struggle a little bit with that. And frankly, the timing on this is off as far as I'm concerned, because each of these recently elected MPPs, remember, we had a provincial election in February, and those people who ran for office willingly did so knowing what the salary was. They were okay with it. And then 3-4 months later, they vote themselves a big, fat $40,000 raise. The timing is off. The approach is off, at least from where I'm sitting this morning. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. They are on again. They are off again. They are on again. They are off again. They are on again, as there is an appeal of a U.S. court decision that said that the Trump tariffs on Canada, based on fentanyl, for example, were illegal. But now with the appeal being awaited, and this probably going to the Supreme Court, I guess the tariffs are on once again. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this with Ilya Solman, who's a professor of law at George Mason University. Ilya, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Excellent. What do you make of this on-again, off-again nature of Donald Trump's tariffs?
Well, first, I should note that in addition to being a law professor, I'm actually co-counsel in one of the cases decided by the ruling a couple of days ago by the U.S. Court of International Trade. So I'm very glad that we won the case in that court. So obviously, as you say, there is an appeal. It is on again for the moment simply because a higher level court, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, has imposed what lawyers call an administrative stay, which in plain English means this is a very brief stay of the lower court ruling to decide whether there should be a longer stay while the appellate process proceeds. We and also the state of Oregon, leading 11 other states which filed the other case decided by the court, we are going to oppose that stay, and we believe that the ruling should be allowed to go in effect. We expect that there should be a decision on the stay issued in a couple weeks, though obviously it's going to take longer for the appellate process to fully play out. And as you say, there is even a chance that it might go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
How did you successfully argue on that initial decision, Ilya, to have the tariffs deemed illegal?
Well, President Trump's abuse of power did most of our work for us. Essentially, Trump is claiming the power to impose any tariff on any nation at any time for virtually any reason he wants. And the court was pretty clear in concluding that the law doesn't give him that authority. And if it did somehow do so, that would be unconstitutional because under our Constitution, it is Congress, not the president, who has the power to impose tariffs and indeed any other taxes.
Given the state where we're at right now, this does not apply, though, to all of the tariffs that President Trump has imposed, correct?
That is correct. but it applies to the vast bulk of them. It applies to all those where he was trying to use the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, which he claimed enables him to impose virtually any tariffs he wants. There are other laws under which are narrower in nature, under which he has imposed some other types of tariffs, for instance, unfortunately, on Canada's auto industry. Those are not affected by the ruling, though we do oppose them too.
I think, Ilya, we all expected this appeal to be sought, and so here we are for the time being. I guess that means tariffs remain in place. But where do we go from here? How do you argue this next step?
So, as I said before, it may be that the temporary stay will be soon lifted, in which case the lower court ruling would go into effect. But the next step is there is an appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, which is the appellate court that has jurisdiction over the Court of International Trade. It's possible that whoever loses in the Federal Circuit, which I hope will be the government rather than us, whoever loses might appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. But we are reasonably confident that we have a good shot at winning both in the Federal Circuit and if we get there in the Supreme Court, because we have a very strong argument, and it's just implausible for the president to assert that he has this virtually unlimited power to impose any tariffs he wants for any reason.
This really seems to be a knee-jerk decision or reaction from one day to the next from the Trump administration, where the tariffs are applied, which tariffs are on, which tariffs are off, etc. Is there any sense, Ilya, south of the border, that the support for President Trump's tariff actions is weakening in any way?
If you look at the polls, the large majority of Americans oppose these tariffs. We do not want to wage a trade war against Canada or other allies. We want to continue to be able to trade freely, to get access to goods we want, and investors and businesses, both in this country and in your country, they want clarity and stability, so we know what the rules are from day to day, as opposed to having them change at one man's whim any day he feels like it if he wakes up on the wrong side of his bed.
I really appreciate your time and perspective on the show this morning. Thank you for being here, Ilya.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Ilya Soman is a professor of law at George Mason University, as you heard him say in that conversation, was one of those lawyers who successfully argued the case against the tariffs. As we expected, it has gone to the Court of Appeal, so here we are again in a state of limbo. I could not imagine, truly, I could not imagine being a business that is affected by tariffs, given the on-again, off-again nature of them. And I find it really interesting that, at least according to the perspective from somebody south of the border, our guest just now, Ilya Soman, that President Trump's popularity is, if you believe the polls, I'll grant you, but is starting to diminish, because I don't think I get the sense, certainly, that not many Americans are on board with this either. They don't want to engage in a trade war with their closest neighbor and ally, and yet here we are. And if he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, what does President Trump do next? I have to admit, I've gotten the occasional chuckle out of the meme that I have seen with the TACO acronym, Trump always chickens out. When it's impacting the economy and you're going to build the economy in the United States, well, you're going to lose the support of the Americans who voted for you. And that seems to be the case right now in the United States. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
President Trump's abuse of power did most of our work for us. Essentially, Trump is claiming the power to impose any tariff on any nation at any time for virtually any reason he wants. And the court was pretty clear in concluding that the law doesn't give him that authority. And if it did somehow do so, that would be unconstitutional, because under our Constitution, it is Congress, not the president, who has the power to impose tariffs and indeed any other taxes.
That is Ilya Soman, a professor of law at George Mason University, who helped argue a case against Donald Trump's tariffs on both Canada and Mexico, which were, for a moment anyway, overturned. But we know as of today that those tariffs are still hitting most countries around the world. Yesterday, that U.S. Court of International Trade found the use of an emergency powers law to impose those sweeping tariffs exceeded the president's authority. And, of course, Prime Minister Mark Carney here in Canada welcomed that. But the Federal Appeals Court temporarily paused that decision. This will likely end up in the U.S. Supreme Court. But we are seeing some interesting developments here. First of all, Donald Trump's popularity is beginning to sink a little bit in the polls. And, of course, this is also wreaking havoc on the U.S. economy. And we know that the president does not want that to be the outcome. So we continue to watch with interest. I have to give a huge shout out this morning to, my gosh, I mean, so many people, but I'll start with the fine folks of Wilmot Township. I don't know where I would be without you, Wilmot Township, from the incredible partnership we have with TLC Pet Food and Eric and Sandra, the owners, right down through the entire staff who have been great partners on our Farwell for Hire fundraising for many years now. And we're once again our title sponsor on our Farwell for Hire 50/50 raffle. But yesterday afternoon, after the show, I got to spend some time with the great folks from Long Haul Trailer Sales in Listowel, which was awesome. They put out a $1,000 donation that we were able to increase through the day by getting entries into the Spot the Suite contest that they run, which is a lot of fun. I got into this little mini trailer that they were pulling behind a smart car just to show you that you didn't need a truck to pull this trailer. And I could not believe the space inside. I mean, it was perfect for me. I tried to nudge my beloved into it last evening. I'm like, look at this. We could throw this on the back of the Toyota and off we go and have a great little weekend away. We just have to really like each other because it's a little cozy in there. But it was really impressive stuff. So thanks to Long Haul Trailer Sales out of Listowel. And then later in the afternoon, it was all Wilmot all the time. I got to spend some time at Maple Leaf Car Cleaning in New Hamburg. And the owner there, Ron, who made a $1,000 contribution to our Farwell for Hire fundraising efforts for cystic fibrosis research. All I had to do was wash his truck. I mean, listen, we spent several hours at the Kitchener Fire Department headquarters the other weekend. The weather was rotten, which didn't help, but several hours to make just over $1,000. One vehicle. But Ron's fussy, which is why, though, you should probably use Maple Leaf Car Cleaning Services because he puts as much effort into your vehicle as he does his own. But it was great to meet Ron, great to get out there, see the shop, learn a little bit more about who he is and what he does, and then, of course, collect that donation. And we took that right over to the Scran and Dram in New Hamburg. And Jeff Bell runs a music bingo night on Thursdays at the Scran. And I'm just blown away. So we arrive and Jeff introduces us as part of the music bingo night. And it's tons of fun. Like everybody's having a blast doing music bingo. And they give me an empty pitcher, which is a pretty sad thing, by the way. Like I like a full pitcher. You know what I'm saying? But I walked around the restaurant with that empty pitcher, which was quickly filled up with 5s and 10s and 20s, and one fella even put in a 50. And Gail from Treads, the driving school, put in an envelope with $500 in it from Treads. I asked her if it was okay if I gave her a hug. She said it was okay because I'm going to hug somebody for a $500 donation. Let that be noted, okay? But walked around anyway. By the time we were finished, Jeff made a personal contribution from his earnings. Our friends who operate Scran and Dram, Sabrina and Hutch, made a contribution. All of those donations that we collected in cash in that pitcher totaled almost $2,000 by the time everything was said and done. Absolutely incredible stuff. So we went around for probably about 8 hours after the show yesterday. but we're able to raise about $5,000 towards our $150,000 fundraising goal. And it was incredible stuff, thanks in large part to Wilmot Township. So I ask again, where would I be without you, Wilmot? Where would I be without you? The generosity from across this community has been beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm incredibly grateful. But I wanted to give a special shout out to the folks in Wilmot Township for all of their support yesterday. You're good folk out there. You really are. And cystic fibrosis certainly appreciates it as well. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, "Son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice." So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, "If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em.
I'm not supposed to sing,
Know when to fold 'em.
but I can't help it when it's Kenny.
When to walk away.
Know when to run. The Gambler by request from Avery on this All Request Friday on the program. Fridays mean a number of different things. WRSE, Waterloo Region Sports and Entertainment Weekly, will be here in just over 30 minutes' time. We'll check in on all things WRSE, in particular the Kitchener Panthers. Tough loss last night to Toronto, but we'll talk more about it just after 10:30 this morning. And then between 11 and noon, it is our Friday 4 roundtable. We will have a discussion of the week's big stories. And today, one of the big stories certainly here is what you have managed to do in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle. We have reached a level I'm not sure we've reached before. And I'll tell you that when this whole thing started, I thought to myself, if we could get a jackpot of $150,000, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be pretty happy with that and pretty confident that our fundraising efforts would reach the $150,000 overall that I wanted to reach this year, because $150,000 in the 50-50 jackpot means $75,000 for cystic fibrosis research, and we could probably fundraise another $75,000 on top of that. Well, to say that the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle and your contributions to it have far exceeded expectations would be an understatement. We are currently approaching $220,000 in the jackpot. Right now at $217,850. That's a take-home prize of $108,925. That's the prize right now as of this moment. But ticket sales remain open for another couple of hours still. We're going to call Cystic Fibrosis Canada, and then we're going to award the prize on the show today at 12:15. So you've still got a couple of hours to get a ticket at cf5050.ca and get in on the chance at some really significant money. It's great money for cystic fibrosis research, which is awesome, but it's also pretty darn good money for you. And we could be calling you this afternoon just after 12 o'clock and telling you that you won the prize. As I hit refresh again, and look at that, we went up another $500. Now over $218,000 in the jackpot. Get your tickets at cf5050.ca. An update from the 570 News Centre is coming up. After that, how about a twin pad in North Dumfries and the original Ayr Community Centre remains intact. We talk about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio. The township of North Dumfries will twin its ice pad at the NDCC, and in so doing will also keep open the Ayr Community Centre. It was a big decision at North Dumfries Township Council earlier this week, and we're joined to talk more about it by Scott Tilley, who's the Ward 4 councillor in North Dumfries Township. Scott, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Great. Congratulations on everything for cystic fibrosis. You've done amazing.
Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. I give credit to all those people that are buying 50-50 tickets, but appreciate that for sure.
Well, looking forward to my chance, too.
I hope I call Scott Tilley's name today.
There we go. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
I listened in on your meeting the other night, Scott, and you brought forward the motion that will move forward with the twinning of the NDCC, and because staff recommended the opposite, but keeping open the Ayr Community Centre. Why do you believe this is the right approach?
Oh, just what the ACC is really about. It's more than an ice surface. It's a community centre, and it hosts many artistic groups. We have the Ayr Paris Band, the Ayr Pipe Band, and Ayr Community Centre, plus many others. We host our weekly summer market out of there, depending on different scenarios, and there's a lot of other things that happen down at that center, and it's really I've heard from the community, and it's just really a place that people consider part of their town, and they don't want to see it go anywhere, and I'm totally in agreement with that.
So if it doesn't go anywhere and the township maintains control of it, all of that comes with that, operation, maintenance, etc., how do you pay for the pretty significant project that is the twinning of the NDCC?
That's an excellent question. We do have some good plans, I believe, with working with staff, and council had to do a lot of processing, and I think in a very compact time period. There is some real, I would say some creative financing that we had to dig into to see what could happen to make it happen, and just without losing that major center, the ACC, is so important. But I mean, putting money against people's property taxes was the last place we wanted to land with that, and so we wanted to make it the minor responsibility of the entire community to take care of it. And what I saw happen on our Monday meeting was just this community come forth and just say they want to see it happen, and they're going to support it. They increase they doubled down, not so much in doubling the numbers, but they doubled down in their commitment to do the fundraising to support this NDCC. And there was also the Scorpions volleyball group. They stepped up, and they're committing $200,000 to the dry surface for the ACC. It just all came together. It was so powerful to listen to the community come together to work for not just the growth of one service, which would be for the ice users. It was also about coming together to see the artistic groups, the non-sports groups, seeing something happen that would allow for not to just be focused on one group, but allow all the groups to be able to participate and be part of the community.
I'm glad you brought up that togetherness, Scott, because we see this sort of story play out in all kinds of municipalities. If an arena is going to be twinned, for example, like the NDCC, that's all about the sports community, right? And had the ACC been closed down, those other groups might have lost access to it. Was there any, did this discussion divide the community in any way between sports groups and arts and theater groups, for example?
There's definitely, I would say that there's definitely resistance from groups to say that there is a separation, but you can definitely see that when we focus on one group, which would be the ice users, people would say that the other groups are being neglected. And I would like to say that council doesn't look at it from that point of view. We look at it from the point of view is there was $5 million grant from the federal government for green and inclusive building that we just wanted to see us take advantage of, if possible. If we couldn't do it financially, then it wouldn't be an option. And what we ended up doing was not only just listening to the group speak, is we wanted to put ourselves in those shoes. So with this twin padding, there's going to be some more indoor warm space leisure and sport activities that, and potentially as well artistic groups can use it as well, that are going to be part of this edition. If you were listening to the meeting, which you said you were, you note that we didn't. There was a lot of push for option 2, and to not go into great detail, option 2 was a better version than option 1, which was going to be a real scaled down, just basic version. The second was a better version, and then there's a third version we went with that was allowing these better spaces that were going to give us more opportunity, more community space that wasn't just focused on the sports.
I know that the township, Scott, had initially requested more from the federal grant program that was available. Ultimately, the $5 million and a bit is available. Is that what the township is able to secure now?
We've been allocated that $5 million to be used on this building that we submitted. That is, as CAO will state, is that we are shovel ready with these drawings, that we can go and we can get started with it. And the almost $11 million that we were requesting, which was up to 50% of the cost that they would that the federal government would cover. Obviously, we didn't hit that, but it was still $5 million in available grant that we can use. Is something that just gets it that bit farther and allows us, when we build infrastructure, when we build something like this, it's now something that we own and we have that will be for the future, and it came from funding from a different source than from the township, and I think that it was one of the key things. The last part of that, I guess I should say, was building it correctly the first time. There was a lot of regrets. If you listen to the community members, there's a lot of regrets 15 years ago when the first pad was built, was that they didn't move forward and build the second pad at that point because of the cost would have been less than $4 million. And just want to see something built incorrectly the first time, and then we should have said, well, we could have, should have, would have. And that's the reason why, and ultimately, with the feedback from the community, the choice for option 3, which builds not a substandard, but a very nice space that when people come to visit, they're gonna be happy to be there, and they're gonna be appreciative of the functionality of the space.
I think it's a big win for the township, for sure, Scott, and I appreciate you making time on the show today to talk about it. Thanks very much for being here.
My pleasure. Mikey, have a great day.
Thank you, sir. I will. You as well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Scott Tilley, Ward 4 Councillor, North Dumfries Township. It was his motion that passed unanimously, albeit with just 3 councillors present. 2 had declared conflicts of interest, but North Dumfries is getting a twin pad at the North Dumfries Community Complex, and the Ayr Community Centre will continue to operate and function as it has been in the township. It is, at least from where I'm sitting, a pretty darn big win for good old North Dumfries Township. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea? What's all this crazy question they're asking me? This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, cause I don't want to see. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way that I'm
Some Three Dog Night by request from Phil, who listens regularly from the festival city of Stratford, in a beautiful city that it is. Thanks for the request, Phil. Thanks for the loyal listenership from just outside the region of Waterloo. Certainly appreciate it. It is an All Request Friday here on the program. If there's a song you want to hear some of, just drop me an email, mike@570news.com. Or when you call in to talk to us about various issues on the show, or you want to just call in and make a request, you can do that too. Jen, who is our board operator, is more than happy to take those requests, and we'll play as many as we can for you before the end of the show today. It's a big day in Elmira as the Woolwich Counselling Centre wraps up its month-long Mental Health Awareness Month. There's been a move-a-thon all month long, and everything culminates with a community event today. Amanda Wood-Atkinson is the Executive Director at Woolwich Counselling and joins us to talk more about it. Amanda, what role does the Woolwich Counselling Centre play in the community?
For sure. So Woolwich Counselling Centre is a registered charity, and we provide mental health supports to primarily Woolwich Township and the surrounding communities. And so we serve approximately 1,000 people annually, including children, youth, adults, and seniors, and we help them to navigate any challenges that life throws their way. So our goal is to provide individual counseling, family counseling, group counseling, and we really want to equip people with tools and strategies to help them heal and grow and thrive.
I think many would have heard by now, and we've talked about it on the show throughout the month, that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So what have you been doing, Amanda, this month to mark Mental Health Awareness Month?
Absolutely. You're right, Mike. So we've had a number of things going on through Woolwich Counselling Centre. So part of not only are we committed to providing direct care to people, but we're also really committed to breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health. So a few of the things that we've been doing are a green ribbon campaign. So if you are local to Woolwich Township, we have been hanging green ribbons everywhere, and that's really been embraced by the community. So just green is the color that symbolizes mental health, and just so a marker and a reminder for people that there is support out there, and we want people to raise awareness, to talk to their neighbors about, hey, what does that green ribbon mean? So that's one thing that we've been doing. Another thing is that we've set a goal for our organization to offer 20 different mental health workshops, and that's out to our local organizations and businesses. And so it's kind of like a lunch and learn about mental health awareness. And so we've had really great response from the community about that. So we set an ambitious goal of 20 workshops, and I think we're up to 15 or 16 already. So we've been thrilled by that support. And then finally, an ongoing event that we have had for a couple of years now is called our Mental Health Move-a-thon. And so that is a fundraiser for our organization, and it's a way for people to get out, just do some movement, and also raise some funds for our organization.
And I know that this entire month's worth of activities culminates with a big community event this Friday afternoon.
You got it. So this Friday, May the 30th, from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m., we've got an event going on downtown in Elmira at Gore Park. And so there's activities that are going to be going on for all kinds of age ranges. So we are having some live music that'll be there. So a local band, Dana Kay and the Remedy, will be playing in the park in our local bandstand there. Then we've got lawn games set up. So that's for any ages. That'll be accessible for people to play a couple different lawn games. And then we have some free food, because food is always a great attractor at these community events. So our local Kiwanis Club has been an amazing supporter and partner of our organization. So they're going to be serving hot dogs. We'll have free popcorn and slushies for the kids. There'll just be an opportunity to interact and mingle with neighbors, enjoy some music, enjoy some food. And so our hope is just to really get people out, get people talking about mental health and recognizing that this is a place where it's safe to talk about your struggles and to talk about, things that are going on in our lives, and that there's support, and we're able to access care that is needed. And that in itself actually results in a stronger, more resilient community.
Amanda Wood-Atkinson is the Executive Director of the Woolwich Counselling Centre. Big event in Elmira today at Gore Park, and a beautiful day for it. Wrapping up Mental Health Awareness Month. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. You always know what you're listening to when it's the crew. Kickstart My Heart by request from Andre on this All-Request Friday. A different kind of concert you'll be able to take in this weekend in the region. And Justin Lapierre is here to tell us more about the Gatherers.
Sure. So it is a concert that is fueled by 30 local musicians. It's this kind of annual concert of choral and chamber orchestral music. It's their fourth year doing it. And what it is it's what we call in the classical music business an oratorio, but we hope it'll appeal to kind of classical musicians and non-classical music lovers alike. And it basically tells a story about climate change, about how we interact with the world. So the whole thing kind of takes place on this disc. It's like the Voyager records that they put out into space in the 70s, where they kind of put music and pictures and things from Earth at that time. It was kind of an idealized version of Earth, but this piece of music, it's kind of a realistic interpretation of our world. So there's kind of stories about wildfires, pollution, that kind of thing.
How did you get these talented musicians together to begin this all those years ago?
Really, it just kind of came together out of happenstance because my friend Ben Wallace, who's the conductor and he's the guy that runs this whole thing. We were performing another work by Bach. This was 4 years ago. And he said, this piece is kind of short. It'd be great if you wrote a piece to kind of complement it to form the back half of the program, which I did. And it just turned out to be such a great success that we've kept doing it. And this year, kind of the program is mainly my music. So I took advantage of that to kind of write an extended work that kind of tells a bit of a more elaborate story.
Where will we be able to hear this performance on the weekend?
So there's actually 3 performances, 2 of which are in Kitchener. So on Saturday, we have a performance at 3 and at 7:30 at St. John Anglican Church in downtown Kitchener, and on Sunday at 3 in Guelph at Dublin Street United Church.
Where can we get our hands on tickets, Justin?
Thegatherers.ca. So you can either purchase tickets online or you can pay at the door in cash.
Thegatherers.ca or at the door in cash. Sounds like a terrific piece for us to enjoy over the weekend. Thanks very much for joining the show today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Justin Lapierre letting us know about the Gatherers concert this weekend. It's no Motley Crue, but hey, you can take in some beautiful orchestral music. I've got to get you to the 570 News Center for an update, and then Friday mornings, 10:30, WRSE Weekly. We'll check in on those Kitchener Panthers and more as we continue the Mike Farwell Show this morning. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Every Friday morning at this time, we get the chance to check in with Waterloo Region Sports and Entertainment, little segment we call WRSE Weekly, and the general manager of the Kitchener Panthers, Shanif Harani, joins us for the conversation. Shanif, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
The Leafs got the better of you last night, 5-2, close game, but Toronto comes out on top. How did that one get away from you last night?
They did. It was a pitcher's battle throughout the entire game. Both starters pitched deep into the game and pitched well. We unfortunately made one mistake. One bad pitch led to that 3-run home run, which ended up being the difference. But there was also positives we can build off of for this weekend.
What are those positives you're building off of for the weekend?
I think the fight. It's been a similar trend that we've noticed early this year, but we have tended to be down early in games. But our guys don't give up. They keep fighting, scratching runs across. We got the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the ninth. So just keep putting together good at-bats and keep fighting, and I think we'll have a good chance.
You talked about that one mistake, that one bad pitch that would have been the difference last night. How close is the margin of winning versus losing in the IBL to start this season?
Extremely tight. I think the league, as a whole, the competition level has never been as high, and it hasn't been as even as well. There's no clear weak team or no clear front runner. There's great competition across the league and a lot of parity. So you have to bring your best game every day, or you risk not being able to come out with a win that night.
It looks early on, Shanif, as if Welland and London are kind of the teams to catch right now. They're establishing themselves early for sure. Is that the way it looks from your GM's chair?
It is, at least early on in the season. We were able to play London, and again, we got out to a quick 5-0 lead, but no lead is safe, especially at Jack Couch Park. So we just have to learn. We're a young team, and we're learning as we go throughout this. But we know that we can stack up with those top teams.
How have crowds been early in the season? I wish the weather could be a little bit better for you, but how's it looking?
You and me both. It's been a little bit up and down as of right now, but we have 2 games this weekend, and we're expecting great attendance. We've seen a lot of interest from fans and a lot of the new upgrades that we've added to the ballpark. And with some nice weather this week, I think we'll have 2 great games, fan-wise and on the baseball field.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to that better weather that's on the horizon. Can you tell us a little bit more about those upgrades that fans are experiencing at the park this season? Of
course. So the first thing they'll notice right when they walk in is our huge Panther. And stay tuned for the Name the Panther contest, which will be coming up here shortly. And then beside the Panther, we have a brand new team store. So what it is a converted sea container into a team pro shop where you can buy all your new Kitchener Panthers gear. We have some items from last season. We have a lot of brand new items and some throwback Panthers items because of our history to try and showcase that as well. And then on the baseball side of things, we have the brand new scoreboard out in left field. Lots of exciting opportunities with that. We'll be able to put our players' headshots on there so our fans can get to know our players a little bit better, put some fun facts about them, and also we can add some in-game entertainment for them as well. And then behind our home dugout, we're also adding batting cages for our players. So we tried to attack each area of the operation and make it a great experience for everyone that's going to be at the ballpark. Nothing against the current look, Shanif. I think it's pretty slick right now, the Panthers look, but are you saying with some of those throwback items in the merch store, I might be able to get my hands on some of the old black and orange stuff? I don't know if we can go back that far. Yeah, see, I'm just showing my age, Shanif. But we do want to make sure that we can highlight the history of the Panthers. A team that's been around for 106 years is something that's very unique. So we want to make sure that people can honor that history and then also see where the team's going in the future. Absolutely love it. So a couple of games this weekend. Who are we playing and how can people get tickets? Yes. So on Saturday, we play Brantford at 2 p.m. This is actually a makeup date for the game that was postponed last week. And then on Sunday, we take on Barrie, who are the defending champions from last season. And the game is also at 2 o'clock at Jack Couch. If you want to purchase tickets, you can purchase them online on our website. They're also linked in all of our social media platforms, as well as you can purchase them at the gate. I had to ask because I only saw the Barrie game on the schedule, and I thought it must have been one of the makeup games. So you come through and let us know that the Saturday's game versus Brantford, because you had a rain out last Thursday, I think it was, right? Yes, yeah. It was supposed to be May 22nd, but it was pushed to this Saturday because of the weather. Beautiful. So back-to-back home games. Catch it at Couch this weekend. Shanif, keep up the great work with the Panthers, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. Shanif Hirani is the general manager of the Kitchener Panthers, who have, as you just heard, back-to-back home games this weekend. A makeup game from a rainout with Brantford tomorrow. The Red Sox just 1-4 to start the season. And your Kitchener Panthers are 2-3. And then on Sunday, it's taking on the defending champs from Barrie, who are 1-3 to start the season against your 2-3
Kitchener Panthers. Does that make both games winnable? Hey, listen, it's a young team. It's a scrappy team, as you heard Shanif just say. Get out there, and that's why they play the games. Maybe the Panthers can put together back-to-back home wins this weekend. Tickets available at KitchenerPanthers.com. You'll find the link right there, or you can buy them as you walk up to Jack Couch Park for those games versus Brantford and Barrie this weekend. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. On a beautiful, sunny, mild Friday, we're going to stick with the theme of local baseball. And we've got back-to-back games for the Panthers this weekend. Looking ahead, not all that far, about a month down the road at Peter Hallman Ball Yard, we're going to have the first of a couple of tournaments taking place, Fastball, that is. June the 26th through the 29th will be the Peter Hallman Memorial Tournament, 16 teams to take part in that. And then in late August, we'll have the 2025 Canadian Grand Slam Championships, which are U23 players coming to play ball here in our fine region and the city of Kitchener. Joining us to talk more about it, Jim Hallman and Brad Thompson with Kitchener Fastball Promotions. Jim, good morning.
Morning, Mike. How are you today?
I am just great, my friend. Thank you. How are you?
Great. On a day like this?
Right? It makes you want to get out there and play some ball, doesn't it?
Oh, I was going to say, it makes you think ball.
It certainly does. And Brad Thompson with us as well. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm excellent, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Brad, let me start with you. Kitchener Fastball Promotions. How did this all come together to promote the game in our region?
Well, Jim Hallman brought me on a number of years ago onto this committee, and it's just a group of people that are really fastball enthusiasts and care about the game and care about the game in the Waterloo region.
And you're still coaching that game here in the region, Brad. How healthy is fastball in the region?
You know what? After going into COVID, it was strong. We were seeing increased numbers, especially at the minor level. After COVID, it was a little bit of a slower start, but our numbers are starting to grow again, and we might see probably our highest number of teams in the province of Ontario going into this year probably than we've seen in the last 5 years.
Jim, can you give us a sense of the teams that will be here and the caliber of play we're going to be able to expect at the Ball Yard?
Well, for the Peter Hallman Memorial, based on what we did last year, because of timing with the top flight ISC teams, we did an intermediate type of tournament, and we had a whole lot of interest, and the ball was great. So this year we've got two different tiers. We have Tier 1, which has the top 5-6 teams in ISC, including the Gremlins, and New Zealand is coming, along with the national teams in preparation for their World Softball Championships. So we've got a wide range, and I was pleasantly surprised when we started talking about this. Brad and Kirk were saying, yeah, we can get a bunch of teams, and I'm going, really? And so this is it. We've got a bunch of teams, and the competition will be really good this year. Like I say, we've got it broken down into two tiers, sort of the intermediate level, and then the Tier 1, which are the top teams in Canada and the U.S. and from abroad.
You talked, Jim, about being pleasantly surprised at the teams you're able to attract to it. I look up and down the list with, New Zealand, Australia, Toronto, of course. It just goes on. And I wonder what it is that makes us able to attract teams like this to high-level tournaments here in Kitchener.
A lot of it is timing. So everybody's traveling around for the World Softball Championships, but also people really like playing at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. The City of Kitchener does a great job of keeping it up, and everybody loves playing there. So, it's on the list of most people's to-do, So, we're fortunate. And like Brad said, COVID kind of knocked things down for a bit. But now that people are back playing ball, everybody wants to come. And the Kitchener Fastball Promotions does put on a good tournament. We've got a lot of really good people who are passionate and who just want to make it happen in a really good way for, to show off Kitchener and the area. So it's just a multitude of things.
I think that's really well said. And I love coming down to the ball yard to see these tournaments because it is high-level ball. It is a great venue. Brad, how can folks get involved? Let's obviously, with the Memorial Tournament coming up in about a month's time, June 26th through 29th, how are people able to get tickets? Can we just walk in? How does it work?
We're always looking for volunteers, and they can sign up through our website at Kitchener Fastball Promotions. Thursday night, just come down to get your admission. Thursday night, we got New Zealand and the Dominican Republic national teams. They're playing Thursday night at 7:00. That game is free of charge to come into the ballpark and just to get a little bit of a taste of the action, and then we have our full slate of games starting with our Tier 2 on Friday at 5:00, and our Tier 1 starting at 7:00 on Friday, and then a full slate of games on Sunday, and then into a Sunday with our both championships at 2:00. Just come down to the ballpark and we'll get you in, and you're going to see some great ball.
It wouldn't be a summer season without some great fastball tournaments to take in here in the city. Gentlemen, thank you both for your passion for the game and bringing these tournaments to us, and really happy to have you on the show today. Thanks for being here.
No problem, Mike.
Brad Thompson. You bet, Jim. You'll see me at the ballpark for sure. Take care, my friend.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye. Jim Holman, Brad Thompson joining us on the show this morning, both with Kitchener Fastball Promotions. A couple of big tournaments coming up through the summer, the first of which will be the Peter Hallman Memorial at where else? Peter Hallman Ball Yard. That kicks off on Thursday, June the 26th. Details for all of it at KitchenerFastballPromotions.ca. View the schedule, get some tickets as well. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Let me tell you a little something about courage, if I may. Some tragically hip, by the way, by request from Bill on this All Request Friday here on the show. Courage is the way I describe anyone living with cystic fibrosis. Living with it, because I can tell you from firsthand experience, having watched my sisters live with it for their relatively short lives. My sister Luann lived to 24. My sister Sherry lived to 18. Over the years, we have made tremendous progress on the research front, and now patients with cystic fibrosis are living longer, having better quality of life, some of them even into their 50s, which is absolutely incredible. But it is something that you must live with. It is a genetic disease. You are born with it. We still don't have a cure. And it is akin to breathing through a straw. So just think, if you're somebody of a certain vintage like me, and maybe you're carrying a little more weight than you need to, and you get to the top of the stairs and you're feeling a little bit out of breath, well, that's every day to about the 10th degree for somebody with cystic fibrosis, because it is so difficult to breathe. We have been all month long raising money for cystic fibrosis research through the Farwell for Hire fundraising campaign. A big part of that campaign is our Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle, and I hope you're sitting down. Or maybe you want to jump for joy, because our jackpot has just passed $230,000. In fact, we are at $231,130 in the jackpot. That means your take-home prize is $115,565. That means cystic fibrosis research is getting more than $115,000 as well to do the research towards that cure, so you're not way out of breath when you climb the stairs if you have cystic fibrosis. You still have an hour. You still have an hour to buy tickets. We're going to call a winner on the show today around 12:15. But you can get a ticket right now at cf5050.ca. cf5050.ca. This jackpot is already more than $231,000. How much higher is it going to go in the next 60 minutes before we make the draw? Get a ticket, cf5050.ca, and maybe it's you I will be calling just after noon today. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio. This is a Friday 4 panel because we invite 3 guests and then we add a host. It's really like 3.5, but we round up to 4 because we're kind to the host that way on the show. One of our guests mysteriously dropped off the call a moment ago. We'll wait anxiously for her return. It's quite all right. We will soldier on with Marjorie Knight, family outreach worker at the House of Friendship. And I should have genuflected when you popped on this Zoom call. Marjorie Knight, Women of the Year award winner for community service. Here, Marjorie Knight. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's pretty impressive. Not Marskell, you're with royalty today.
That's awesome.
It is pretty awesome. David Marskell is that other voice. He, of course, the CEO of the museum in downtown Kitchener. Hey, David, how's Kaleidoscope going? I got to be there for the opening night, the little preview. Fantastic exhibit.
Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you for being part of that. And hopefully we raise some money for your great efforts as well. Kaleidoscope is awesome. People are loving that vortex you got to walk through at the beginning. And we're telling all our guests, eat lunch after you come to this experience. It's really great.
It is.
Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. An incredible experience. And take that advice. Eat lunch after you go through the vortex. Caitlin Kilgore is with us as well. Co-owner of Dream Team Productions. Caitlin, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. The sunshine is finally out.
Oh, isn't it nice? We needed this.
Yes, we did.
All right, let's dive in. And Marjorie, I'll start with you on our first story to banty about, the throne speech. It was delivered by King Charles himself. What did you make of the mechanism for delivery and the contents of the speech itself earlier this week?
I thought that it was symbolic in a way, to have the holder of the throne on the throne in our parliament. And I think that was a deliberate move. I think that in all of this craziness that's going on down south of us, doubling down on the fact that we are looking more towards the UK and our allies that side of the pond. I think it has been made very clear in this way, which, I don't have a problem with. I know, I've been hearing all the arguments of monarchists versus anti-monarchists and why this and why that. The thing is, man, somebody was going to sit on that throne and make a speech, and they were going to speak about what the present government wants to achieve, what their aims are. And he was basically the vehicle by which that was done. I don't really add anything else to that, except that it was a signal perhaps to our neighbors down south that they're not the only game in town.
David, it's hard to argue that this was a bit of a flex, if you will, on the part of Prime Minister Carney, having the king deliver the speech.
Yeah, I think it was symbolic for sure. But it was brilliant. It was a brilliant move, I believe, to play that card. I guess when Carney was first an unelected prime minister, his first visit was to London. And I guess he said to the king, "Hey, if I get elected, do you want to pencil this in?" Um, so I think it's a wonderful, like a really well played. I mean, it's interesting. Trump's response is likened to the mobs of Chicago saying, "Pay us money, or we're going to burn your bar down." Back in the Prohibition days, I mean, pay for the Golden Shield or become part of the U.S. Like, what is that? But the throne speech is seldom specific, I think, always leaving wiggle room. But I think there was some really clear direction in it. I'll be most interested in the large-scale national projects. I'm really interested where the vision is there, if it's a pipeline or like I have no idea where they'll go. I think that would be very, very great. And while I'm not a monarchist, since we pay for them, it's good to use them every once in a while.
Excellent point. And on the large-scale national projects, I'll throw high-speed rail into that too. I know that's a bit of a pipe dream, but boy, oh boy, would I like to see some level of it, certainly here through Southern Ontario. Caitlin, your thoughts on the King's delivery of the speech, or he being the person to deliver it and the speech itself?
Yeah, you just mentioned the high-speed rails. I quote one of your tweets very often of how long it would take to get from Windsor to Montreal if we had high-speed rail trains. When it comes to the throne speech, there was a lot of symbolic and a lot of new things. The King gave a land acknowledgement at the beginning, which to me is extremely symbolic and a big move, especially with the history between the two for sure. I really liked how Marjorie said someone was going to sit on that throne and someone was going to give that speech. It doesn't matter. And I do think it was a well-played card to have the King be the one to do it. When it comes to everything Trump is saying down south, to me, it's look over here while we're doing something over here. I take all that with a grain of salt, but I think one of my favorite things is that everyone's standing up and saying, no, we don't need you. We have other resources. We have other allies. And it's time we go back and we start re-examining those. And we start looking at what all these other countries have to offer when it comes to trade, and create these amazing new partnerships and show the United States that they aren't the number one powerhouse and the world can continue without just having partnerships with them. And I think the speech really hit that on the nail.
It'll be interesting to see how much of this symbolism and this talk turns into action for this session of Parliament in Ottawa. Caitlin Kilgore, Marjorie Knight, and David Marskell with us on our Friday 4 roundtable this morning. A meeting in downtown Kitchener, a bit of a town hall earlier this week, and the executive director of the downtown Kitchener BIA joined our show yesterday to talk about the challenges that downtown Kitchener business owners are facing. This goes beyond, though, mischief and vandalism and things like that. We're getting into really the issues of mental health and homelessness and how they impact a community's core. It's not unique to Kitchener, but we'll talk about how it's impacting downtown Kitchener as we continue with the Friday 4 roundtable this morning. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. And with us around the round table this morning, David Marskell, Caitlin Kilgore, Marjorie Knight are here. Let's talk about downtown Kitchener and really, by extension, downtowns across this province, across this country, probably around North America, because the challenges that are being seen in downtown Kitchener very closely mirror challenges in other municipalities. It's just that simple, given the depth of challenges we're seeing in communities in general. There was a town hall meeting in downtown Kitchener this past week, which followed up on concerns raised earlier in the year. David, I'll start with you on this one with intent, because you were among those voices earlier this year that expressed some concern with what we were seeing in downtown Kitchener. Where are we at? How can we continue to make the city's core safer?
Yeah, I was vocal, and I actually wrote an op-ed in the Record. where I applauded the BIA for shining a light on the issues last January. I felt that we needed to acknowledge there are issues and address it openly, so that we can therefore go ahead and attempt to work together to fix them. It's a challenge for every city, and I think the city and the region and the agencies who were there in January and have worked since heard our concerns, and I think they've taken immediate action in certain areas, and I find there's definitely an improvement. My staff, I canvassed them, knowing that I was going to speak with you guys today, and the front of house staff they're also seeing improvement, and they're not having people wandering in or issues. So I think that's great that they've worked very quickly. I think the more police presence is key. I understand there will be we'll be seeing that. I'm not sure if it's been announced exactly what's happening there, but and I think the downtown ambassadors, the skills that they've brought to de-escalating issues and moving people along and so on, I think that I think it's a great example for some of the improvement and due to their efforts for some of the improvement. I don't think there's an overnight solution to any of this, and we all have to walk a fine line in supporting the businesses while being empathetic to those dealing with certain illnesses. I think that's a real fine line to watch. So it's not fixed fully, but I think a great effort in a 6 months or 5 months since we first met. I live here. I live across from City Hall. I enjoy the restaurants and the evening vibrancy on the streets, and there's a fantastic museum just down the street here, which brings lots of people. So I think I think we're going in the right directions, and I applaud the BIA and all the agencies that have come forward on this one.
It's a really good point on that fine line. It might be a razor thin line at this point between being empathetic towards both business and the population that is absolutely struggling. Caitlin, I'll move it over to you for thoughts on this. Making our cities and particularly the core areas safer.
Yeah. You definitely mentioned it before. This isn't unique to Kitchener, Cambridge, the Tri-Cities. This is unfortunately absolutely everywhere. And I see it up north in Sudbury when I'm up there visiting my family, here in Listowel as well. I think the BIA is taking a step in the right direction. Even remembering just like being a kid in the 90s, early 2000s, what was going on downtown, the different changes, what we've seen come and go with lots of different events. There's always something going on and bringing people in, which I think is great for businesses. There is the safety aspect. But I think we're also at a point in society where we understand that this is not a life anyone chose to live. This was never supposed to be this way, and it is getting worse, and there's a lot of different things when it comes to mental health resources. I think with a program like this, we have to start looking at how to pair and partner into other programs. Marcel said it's not overnight. It's not one program fixes it all. It is a great start, and hopefully we do see some improvements, and hopefully that does help with partnering with other mental health resources and organizations to not just say remove, push it aside. Oh, you can't see it, so it's not there. Let's start keeping that wheel moving and then keep going to the next step so that we see progress with this as well.
That point about nobody chooses to live this way, I think, is a good one. And the lens through which, Marjorie, you would look at an issue like this. You've got experience that you've shared before with homelessness personally. You work now as an outreach worker. How do you view the challenges that downtowns like Kitchener are facing?
The issue is quite complex, and it is compounded by the fact that we are literally generating homelessness now. And the longer you are homeless, the more you're on the streets, the more you're going to end up with some kind of mental issue, because, man, you don't know stress until you're looking for safety of somewhere to put your head, somewhere where you can actually rest safely. And unfortunately, drugs are often a response to that, which means that we are really having a lot of people presenting that way. The knee-jerk reaction has always in the past been to criminalize it, bring in the police, throw them in jail, terrible people, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. It has never worked, and it won't work. I am happy to see the pathway that people are taking in terms of ambassadors who can de-escalate, who can talk, who can help. But now, as Caitlin is saying, there has to be a next step. Where do people go during the daytime or nighttime when they're homeless? Do they have somewhere they can go? Do we have adequate shelters? Do we have adequate places for people to be able to go? They're going to wander around where there are people where they can panhandle and can talk to, or whatever reason they're there, because they have nowhere to go. They're walking up and down with all that they own in their lives, and they just are there. Have we provided enough for them? Have we given them a place to go? Have we given services? Do we have programs that people can get into? Can we get people into mental health programs? If I want to go today for addictions help, can I go today? No, I can't. Can I get counseling today? No, I can't. Can I get help today? Not enough help. So it's one thing to say, yep, this is what we want to do, and kudos for working in a different way other than criminalizing people, because that is just a big problem for me. But we also then have to take the next steps. And that's where I am with that.
When it comes to services, I struggle with this a little bit, Marjorie, because those services are often downtown, right? Because it's accessible, transit, you name it. And I think, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the great work that the Working Centre, for example, is doing through the Soup Kitchen and through its work at St. John's on Victoria Street, et cetera. But how do we balance that? Provide services downtown and also walk that razor-thin line?
Well, I mean, where are you going to put it then? How do people get there? I mean, we put a sanctioned encampment way away from downtown. It's also way away from any transit, way away from any services, way away from everything. So we're just putting them out in the boonies and leaving them there. If they walk down the road to try and walk to where they want to go to, they can be arrested because you're not allowed to walk on that road. So we've put them out there in the middle of nowhere and go, here you are. Well, guess what? You have somewhere where you can sleep, but you can't get to the supermarket. You can't get to the doctor. You can't get... there has to be balance in more than just, oh, we don't want you downtown. People have to be able to get where they're going. They don't have cars. They're walking everywhere, most of them. Do they even have bus fare to get on a bus to go somewhere all the time? No, a lot of the time it's just foot. You're walking everywhere. So it has to be accessible. If it's not accessible, it will not be used. And then what's the point of having it? It's easy to say why, but there is a why. It has to be accessible to people who don't have transport.
Marjorie Knight, David Marskell, and Caitlin Kilgore with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. We continue on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. I just refreshed the page on our Farwell for Hire 50/50 raffle. Now more than $237,000 in the jackpot. That is a take-home prize of $118,590 as of this moment. You've got 30 minutes. That's it. 30 minutes left to get a ticket at cf5050.ca. We will call the winner around 12:15 on the show today. Again, a take-home prize of more than $118,000. Tickets at cf5050.ca. We continue our Friday 4 Roundtable. We'll talk about those raises for MPPs and those shoes on the former Prime Minister. Egads. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Yesterday my life
finally sunny. And we are enjoying that, as well as this request by Paul, Sunny from Boney M. Fridays are all requests on the show. Also, our Friday 4 Roundtable. And joining us for the weekly panel discussion, Caitlin Kilgore, co-owner Dream Team Video Productions. David Marskell is here, CEO of the Museum in downtown Kitchener, and Marjorie Knight, family outreach worker with the House of Friendship. Caitlin, you get first crack at the MPP raises. Good work if you can get it, eh? A 35% increase, $40,000 more per year, and the defined benefit pension is being brought back. All of this was nixed about 30 years ago. It's back. How do you feel, Caitlin, about the large raises being awarded our provincial legislators?
35%.
It's pretty big.
Really? It is. And when you look at the numbers of what they already were making and now what they are, and they're just going, oh, well, look at what this mayor over here is making. Look what this councillor here is making. Yeah, there's been a freeze for, what was it, 16 years? That's fine. But 16 years is a little bit of a long time. And I think it's a really big hike all of a sudden. And one of the things I read that kind of made me laugh was, we're at a time where people need to put food on the table. I'm looking at those 6 digits you're already making. You should be okay. It's us who's paying them. And I think it's a little bit excessive at this point. I'm not okay with the 35%. I understand there's been a 16-year freeze on all that. But it's just, it's not sitting right with me. And I think at this point, when do people say, oh, how long until we can have the next raise? How long until we can adjust the pensions again? How often are we going to start seeing them hiking up their salaries even more, putting more benefits in for themselves? When a lot of that money could go here, we're now going to have a bigger deficit still into the billions because of this now as well, when that money could be put to so many countless different industries and sectors and everything. There's so much more that could have been done with. I don't agree with the 35% at all. At the end, it's really just going to hurt our province even more.
I think it's a fair point on the 116,000 that was the base salary before this increase. When I looked up the average income in Ontario earlier today, and that's $55,000 a year. So if this is well above average, even at 116. But nonetheless, Marjorie, what are your thoughts on the raises and pension benefits for our MPPs?
Man, I would love a 35% increase on my pay. Oh, how can I get one of those? I tell you, 16 years of a freeze, I agree. It's time to do something. Yes. But, Mr. Ford is really strange. He was demanding that public servants only get 1% raise. Remember that? When he froze everybody and you could only get a 1% raise, but he's willing to give a 35% raise to himself and his colleagues. And then, also recognizing that if you win a seat in his party, he's going to make sure that he's putting you in some kind of position to raise you from the base pay. So I don't even think there's even anybody in his entire caucus who gets base pay. So they have that little rise as well as 35%. Listen, man, we've been fighting for how long for a raise for people living with disabilities, people who cannot pay rent from the assistance that we give them. And he talks about, being prudent with tax and public money and uses that as an excuse not to give those people a raise, but he gives himself a 35% raise. It's absolutely unconscionable. I'm not saying you're not to get a raise. Yes, you can get a raise. But my dear sir, if everybody else, by your judgment, was to get 1%, I don't think you should get much more than that either. And as for a pension, I don't grudge anybody a pension. It's reasonable to have a pension. If you have given service to the public as a politician, it is right for you to have a pension. You give up a lot to be a politician. I know many people who have gone into politics who, when they do win a seat, their actual pay goes down because what they did before, they got a lot more money than they will get as a public servant. So a pension, yes. 35%, heck no. Not yet. Not happening. That's just wrong. They should be ashamed.
For the premier.
Final answer? Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Did you get the point that she was making, David Marscal? For the premier, it works out to $73,000 is the increase.
That's not right.
And it's a good point on the 1% public sector wage freeze that we had endured early in Doug Ford's first term, I do believe it was. And I struggle with this too. Look, you haven't had a raise since 2009. By all means, let's lift that freeze and make sure that there are increases. I don't think you need to make it all up, though. Let's just give the 2% on top of the 116.5 that MPPs were already making, and then begin having the annual increases again. Perhaps. Anyway, David Marscal, your thoughts?
Well, I disagree with respect. I mean, $116,000, which is, I think what you said, Mike.
Yeah.
At 2% a year, they would be making $153,000 right now, but they've made zero increase in 16 years. So give them 2%. And maybe there's a different way of doing this, and I'll sort of end with that. I mean, Mike Harris removed pensions for MPPs, and I'm not sure if they're back or if the Liberals brought it back or what happened with that. But he did remove pensions. You've got to pay properly. This region needs to pay. What do we pay our local politicians? Like $42,000 or $60,000 or something? Like, to attract really wonderful, and we have great politicians, don't misunderstand, but politicians deserve to be paid. They're working 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. The ministers need cars and drivers because they're doing this incredible amount of effort and so on. I would just suggest, though, perhaps there should be an automatic review that the outgoing parliament debates this and puts in whatever for the incoming. So at the end before an election, the outgoing people say, "Here's what the increase is going to be on the next session of next session of parliament."
I think that's an excellent idea, because in this case, we just had an election in February, and all of these folks put their name forward and ran in the election knowing what the salary was. One would presume then that they were okay with the terms when they entered the race. So excellent point, David. And
if I may, Mike, just one quick thing.
Yes.
It's nice to see the parties working together. It was unanimous.
13 minutes. It took 13 minutes. Yes, we're going to take that 35%. Good point. David Marscal, CEO of the museum in downtown Kitchener. Caitlin Kilgore is with us, co-owner, Dream Team Video Productions, and Marjorie Knight, family outreach worker at the House of Friendship. We got one more thing to talk about, and I can't believe I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. The shoes. Everybody was talking about the shoes. What was the Prime Minister wearing on his feet when the King was in Ottawa? Sorry, the former Prime Minister. Did I say Prime Minister? Anyway, we'll talk about it with our Friday 4 Roundtable coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. This one is for Matt and the team out at TLC Pet Food today. By request, on your All Request Friday, I do not need to tell you that it's Survivor and Eye of the Tiger, but I just did anyway. And thanks again to TLC Pet Food for being our title sponsor on the Farwell for Hire 50/50 raffle, which has now gone north of $241,000. I'm blown away by this. You've got 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Wait, 12:59, 8, 7. it goes down. Just under 13 minutes left to buy your tickets. cf5050.ca. David Marskell, Caitlin Kilgore, Marjorie Knight with us on the Friday Four Roundtable. Marjorie, I'm going to start with you. Listen, I'm not going to claim to be a fashionista. Look at me. I'm wearing a hockey jersey at work today. But what the heck was going on with Justin Trudeau's shoes when the king was in the Commons this week?
I just find this so interesting. As a woman, we are policed daily. If some woman is standing up making a speech, oh my God, did you see her hair? What was her what all day long? And it's almost refreshing to see that they're looking at a man and his shoes. I mean, seriously, you're looking at his shoes. All I can say is he's ready to make a quick getaway. He will not slip and fall. He will not trip over anything. He can walk as fast as he wants to get out of that place when he's ready to leave. No problems, no slipping, no sliding, no falling. He's ready. He's ready to run. That's all I have to say. Cool shoes, different color. I don't know that it really went with the blue suit, but hey, he's a fashionista, not me. And if he thought it went well, buddy, I'm all for it. I'm not policing nobody's clothes and nobody's fashion. This is the girl who wears her beautiful gown and her running shoes all the time because that's what I got to do. So I'm not going to throw no stones because, man, my glass house would just shatter all around me. So he wants to wear that green shoes? Go for it, bud.
All right. I think personally he wanted us to notice the green shoes. I'm not sure why. And maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. David Marskell, what do you think?
When I first saw it before the news even picked it up, when I just caught it on an image somewhere, I thought it was a political statement. I was trying to process what are those colors, and then I realized no, this is just fun. This is just and where I quickly went to, and I'm showing my age here, is it was kind of a nod to his father who twirled behind the Queen when she was signing something. And that's the image that came back, is that's what Pierre Elliott Trudeau did. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but if you've ever seen images of him twirling, I think it was in England. It was just fun. It was just fun. And I wish the politicians would do that more often. Have fun.
All right. Have fun. Wear the jaunty shoes. Caitlin, thoughts?
Yeah. It's nice to see people be human. It's nice to not see people be copy paste. Show your individuality. Were they scuffed up? Were they dirty? Were they covered in mud? Those were a nice new pair of shoes. And he was ready to go. And Marjorie just reminded me of one of my favorite Demi Lovato songs. And she says, "Who says I can't wear my Converse with my dress?"
Exactly.
And I am that person. I would love to end up on the People of Walmart website because I will just wake up and watch Walmart if I have to, and always time and place. But yes, and especially as women, man, if that was a woman, oh my God, she'd be out. She'd be done. Like, again, every day, it's so funny to see them pick on a guy because of shoes. Simple shoes. Where, yeah, down to every detail of us, you wore that with that body, with that hair at this type of place all the time. So you know what? He looked good. He looked comfortable. The shoes were clean. Bit of fashionista. I didn't really like that shade of gray with the blue. Other than that, I think it was all right.
Wait, it was gray? I thought it was green. Now we're going to have the whole, was it a white dress or a blue dress?
I did say green.
Okay,
I did
sorry.
say green. It was
just
green
my ears.
with the blue suit, that green and blue. I'm sorry. I don't think that goes well.
I might also disagree with that part too. But hey, they weren't my shoes and we're not talking about them. Okay, I want to leave each of you enough time to buy a 50-50 ticket in the Farwell for Hire raffle if you have not yet. So class is dismissed a wee bit early today, but I thank you each for your time on our show. As always, Marjorie Knight, family outreach worker, with the House of Friendship. Caitlin Kilgore, co-owner of Dream Team Video Productions, and David Marskell, CEO of the Museum in downtown Kitchener. Make sure you go check out Kaleidoscope. It is fantastic. Thank you all for being here. Good luck in the 50-50 draw, and have a great weekend.
Go get those tickets.
Go get those tickets. This is
Congratulations, Mike. Congratulations.
Thank you, David. Really appreciate that. It's all for cystic fibrosis research on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Request by Ron on this All Request Friday. A little bit of rush with the spirit of radio as we approach the noon hour. Just over 3 minutes left to buy your tickets in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle. We have had a time over this past month, haven't we? Thanks so much to TLC Pet Food, the Better Business Bureau, the Kitchener Rangers Organization, and of course, our friends here at Rogers Kitchener Radio for making this draw possible. We are raising big bucks for cystic fibrosis research. Take-home prize right now, worth more than $121,000. Are you kidding me? $121,000 plus for CF, $121,000 plus for you. You have 2.5 minutes left to buy a ticket. Don't waste time. Go to cf5050.ca right now. cf5050.ca. But over this past month, the things that we have done, the things that you have made me do, I said if the jackpot gets up to $140,000, a $70,000 take-home prize, I would wear a hat, a scarf, and a jersey of the team that shall not be named. That happened yesterday. We were already over $140,000 yesterday. So you said, you know what? We got to have another incentive here. And Lisa, who sent an email this morning saying, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Lisa gave us the idea. If we get to a $200,000 jackpot, you can take that ugly stuff off and replace it with a Leafs jersey. See if your Leafs fans' friends will come through for you. See if the good, kind-hearted people of Waterloo Region would come through for me so I didn't have to suffer with that ugly hockey stuff on anymore. And before we even started the show today, our jackpot was worth more than $200,000. I'm going to hit refresh right now. Boom. $243,220 in the jackpot. That is a take-home prize of $121,610. $121,610. You're into the final minute to buy tickets. cf5050.ca. The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario will shut those sales down at noon. That's it. You cannot buy more past noon. But here's what's about to happen. We'll shut down the sales. We're going to run everything through the computer like it needs to be run, and then we're going to call a winner. A representative of Cystic Fibrosis Canada will join us right after this update from the 570 News Centre, tell you what you have helped do for cystic fibrosis. This money means so much to research. We'll find out how much in just a moment. And then we make the big call because we are going to award one of you more than $121,000. Stay with us. The fun has merely just begun on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water crowd rises, you built a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad.
Oh, this one. I don't know why I wanted to play it, because it gets me every time. Is it dusty in here or what? That is a song by One Republic called I Lived, and it was written and dedicated to a 15-year-old fan of the band who himself is a cystic fibrosis warrior. That's what we call the young men and women who are living with the disease, and the older adults too, because research has done so much to improve the quality of their lives, but we're not yet there for a cure. That's why in the month of May, we do a Farwell for Hire fundraising campaign so we can raise more money for that all-important research. And we have just closed our 50-50 raffle. Somebody is going to win more than $121,000. That means also that Cystic Fibrosis Canada is getting more than $121,000. Phoebe Day joins us on the show. Phoebe is the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer with Cystic Fibrosis Canada. Phoebe, good afternoon.
Hi, Mike. It's great to be here. And two quick things. I'm actually in Edmonton, so I know your hockey pride and what you're feeling. And then secondly, we've got a Teams chat going at Cystic Fibrosis Canada about your 50-50, this record-breaking year, and our whole team across the country is so excited and thrilled for you and the CF community. So congrats on this big one.
Forget that. Like, you can tell the rest of the people in that chat, forget that. I am thrilled, Phoebe, for you and for come on with your coming on, 121,000 and change here. That is a heck of a month's worth of ticket sales.
It is, yes, it's huge. Yeah, and I think that your community's rallied behind you, and it will go to very, very important work.
Can you give us a sense of that work, Phoebe, and what money like this can help Cystic Fibrosis Canada do?
Sure, and I will say this is our 65th anniversary at Cystic Fibrosis Canada. And Mike, I know you've been a big part of that CF story for many of those years, and you've certainly seen that progress that's been made in the last few decades since your sisters were diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. So we have made huge progress. People are living into their 60s. So that's a big deal, considering, as you've said, that kids weren't expected to make it to kindergarten 65 years ago. But 60 is still pretty young, and people are still quite sick. They're being hospitalized. They don't have the treatments that they need. And we've made a lot of impact over the 6 decades, for sure, in terms of supporting earlier diagnosis by advocating for newborn screening or helping fund the discovery of the CF gene that would then lead to improved treatments, and opening access to Trikafta for all age groups. So over the last 65 years, we've made a lot of progress and helped a lot of people. But as I said, we're continuing to see a lot of people across the country who are dying too young, or still getting infections, or they can't work, or they're in the hospital. So this year, last year, and the years to come, we are investing in research that's going to make a difference for people that don't have the options to benefit from Trikafta, that life-changing medicine. We're making sure that Canadians who have CF get the right treatment from them, and the dollars from this 50-50 does just that. And even in the last year, for instance, we've had such great success in making sure that the people who can benefit from Trikafta get it. And we truly don't think that without the work of Cystic Fibrosis Canada and our community of advocates that we would have achieved that success in the last year, pushing hard so that anyone who could benefit from it would get it.
I, believe it or not, coincidentally, just had a conversation about that very thing at a fundraiser last night. One of the ladies who was donating to our Farwell for Hire campaign talked about a niece who had to fight while we were working on that advocacy to get Trikafta covered so they wouldn't have to pay out of pocket for it. And now she's on it and she's doing so well. We've met kids in our community here in the region of Waterloo who have gotten onto Trikafta. We've seen the difference it's made in their everyday lives. So I love those stories. Where are we headed, Phoebe? What are we working on in the CF community to help to take that next step?
Yeah, and my scientific colleagues might cringe at how I'll describe some of this, but there are a couple things. So we know that a Trikafta 2.0, as we're calling it, is coming. There is a more scientific name for that, but it's a 1 pill a day format, for instance, that might be easier for some people to take than Trikafta and have fewer side effects. So we'll be working on making sure that we get that to the people who might be able to tolerate that better. Then there are new options for people who don't have a therapy that's working for them at all. We're investing in research around gene therapy or gene editing, which is pretty cool, and it allows our scientists and our teams to permanently correct the mutations within the body in the CF protein that can't be treated right now with the current medications that we have. So because we created a fantastic clinical trial network a few years ago that spans across the country, that network is going to be critical to help get some of these new clinical trials in gene therapy going, and starting these trials and getting more research into things like gene therapy and gene editing are really going to accelerate the development of these treatments that become more personal, more targeted to people, and offer that hope and to the patients who need it most, because there simply aren't any options for them right now.
I know, Phoebe, that folks here in the region and across Ontario, really, but most of them here in the region of Waterloo got behind this 50-50 raffle because, listen, it's fun. The jackpot gets big. You could win some really significant money. Again, that prize, more than $121,000. But I know, too, that the folks in this community recognize that they're helping a cause that means a lot to us here in the region. And one of the things that's always frustrated me, just personally a wee bit, is that I don't think that we in the CF community get the attention and awareness and coverage we deserve. I try my best to work on that. But can you give us a sense of what a gift of $121,000 means to Cystic Fibrosis Canada? That seems to me to be a pretty significant number.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge, Mike, and it will help so many Canadians across the whole country. And we talk about investing in research and the advocacy work that we do, but also what's important is that, as you just said, the CF doesn't get maybe the attention that it needs. It's a rare disease. There are about 4,500 Canadians who have it. So having that rare disease can be isolating, and there's a lot of emotional and mental impacts that go with it. So $121,000 will help support that emotional well-being and the connections. We just launched a mental health hub, for instance, on our website, so that people can come to CF Canada and look for resources that they need. We have a helpline that answers pressing questions. We're starting to understand how to better support newly diagnosed families so they don't feel so alone, and they have the resources that they need. Also starting to work to support people with peer connections and conversations. So aside from the big things that are kind of easy to understand in terms of research and advocacy, it's that making sure that people feel connected to each other, to Cystic Fibrosis Canada, that they, as I said, don't feel alone. It is very isolating when you're told you have a disease that's likely a terminal disease, and what that means. So we should be shouting from the rooftops about the great work that is being done by Cystic Fibrosis Canada and this incredible community right across the country. And this gift, this donation, that all the funds, the tickets that were bought for $121,000 will go a long way. And also I have to give TLC Pet Foods a huge shout out and thank you once again for being part of it.
Phoebe, tell that Teams chat that we are... I have a hard time today. That we are super, super happy for you all. And thank you very much for the work that you do. We appreciate it so very much. Knowing that you're in Edmonton, I think we're all behind you now. Go Canada, go Oilers, go Connor McDavid. And please keep up the great work. Thank you for joining the show today.
Thanks, Mike. Feeling is very, very mutual, and your sisters would certainly be proud. So thank you for continuing this work.
I look forward to our next conversation. Thanks, Phoebe.
Thanks, Mike.
Phoebe Day, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer with Cystic Fibrosis Canada. Now you know what you did. And I'm so grateful to you for that. We have a winning ticket and a winning ticket holder. We're going to call him. Oh, did I let out half? Well, we eliminated half the audience now. We're going to call our winner, and hopefully he will be on the phone with us right after this. Stay with us. Somebody's getting $121,000 plus on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Am I getting a thumbs up? My screen just went green. Is the winner on the phone? No. Okay. I feel sorry for people that have real jobs. I'm sure the winner of more than $121,000 right now is. Let's see if I can leave him a message here. Can we make the phone work?
I'm unable to take your call this time. Please leave a message at the tone.
Boy, I hope.
After leaving a message, you can hang up or press pound for more options.
Okay. I'll leave a message, all right. I sure hope we called the right number. I sure hope that we just called Jeff Wenzel, who has just won I just got confetti bombed in the studio. Jeff, you know what you're missing out on? You're missing out on the call that tells you that you are the winner in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle for cystic fibrosis research. $121,770. Jeff Wenzel, this is not a prank call. Call us back when you have a minute, okay? 519-570-2545. I'll hang up the message I just left for Jeff. But there is our winner. Thank you to you for playing along. Thank you for helping us raise more than $121,000 for cystic fibrosis research. Thank you to all of these people that confettied the studio, because I get all the credit and I deserve absolutely zero of the credit. You're amazing. I love you long, long time. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Honest to goodness gracious, somebody call Jeff Wenzel. I know he thinks we're just trying to sell him something. Jeff, we just want to give you a big fat $121,770 check because you, sir, are the winner in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle. Somebody call Jeff Wenzel. Come on. Let's go to the phones. Jolene is here. Good afternoon, Jolene.
Good afternoon, Farwell. How are you?
I thought that might be you, Joe. I could not possibly. I'm on cloud 9, right? I might be on cloud 10, to be honest with you.
Listen, I've been watching on Rogers TV, and I am like having an emotional moment with you, and I just want to congratulate you on such an amazing Farwell for Hire. I mean, what is it, 10 years now? And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of our community. And, oh, my goodness. And Jeff, someone called Jeff, like Mike said. Someone called Jeff. I didn't win it. My dad didn't win it. It's okay. The money's going to great cause. And Jeff, apparently, if he ever answers his phone. But, yeah, I just wanted to call and say congratulations. And the effort that you put in and the community that supports you, you are a gem to our community, and I'm so grateful to be able to call you a friend, and I can't wait to have drinks with you at the beer garden on May 36th, I believe.
That's what it is, exactly.
I've got a big group of people coming out from my work, and they're all ready to continue to support the campaign, and I'm just so proud. I love this community. We have this conversation every time we see each other. I love this community so much. I love how they come together and support such great causes, and just gives me all the happy feels.
Joe, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing you on May the 36th as well.
Sounds good, bud. Okay, Jeff, call Mike. Keepers.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, my love.
Thanks. Bye-bye. That's my good friend Jolene, who's been supporting our campaign from the early days. I've done work at her place and her dad's place, and they share on socials and they help. Let me tell you a quick story about May the 36th, because this is how I joke about the Farwell for Hire fundraising campaign. It's supposed to last for the month of May, right? 31 days in May. But it inevitably goes longer than that. So here's what, look, the 50-50's done. But I ain't even close to finished yet, okay? Because I gotta hustle my little patootie to make as much money as we can for cystic fibrosis research on top of the $121,000 we raised in the raffle. So on May the 36th, a.k.a. June the 5th, we are going to be at the Research and Tech Park out by the University of Waterloo for a little beer garden in the afternoon. You want to come and celebrate this great raffle and just have a nice time outside. It's supposed to be a beautiful week next week. We'll have some beers together, have a good time, raise some money there. And don't forget this one. On Sunday, June the 15th, mark it down, Father's Day, we're going to be at Barry's Asparagus for the Deep Fried Asparagus Day. Everybody loves that one. Tim Barry and the team at Barry's Asparagus put on a great show for us. The schmuck truck is there. Asparagus out of the field, into the fryer in this delicious batter with some garlic aioli. You won't want to miss it. That's also another fundraiser coming up. That will be on May the 46th. June 15th, okay? So June 5th, the beer garden at the Research and Tech Park. June 15th, deep fried asparagus at Barry's. Please join us for those events and help us raise more money for cystic fibrosis research. And I think Jeff Wenzel listened to Jolene. He wasn't listening to me, but Jolene said, Jeff, call. We're going to talk to Jeff right after this update from the 570 News Center. Stay with us. Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. As I said earlier, some people have to work for a living. Or maybe they just think that somebody's trying to sell them something. In our efforts to reach Jeff Wenzel earlier this afternoon, we were unsuccessful. But I did leave him a message, encouraged him to call back if he had a moment, and I think we have now made that connection. Jeff, is that you?
That's me here.
It's you there. Jeff Wenzel?
Yes.
Jeff, did you buy a Farwell for Hire 50-50 ticket in support of cystic fibrosis research?
Absolutely.
Jeff, you absolutely just won $121,770.
That's amazing. Super exciting.
Jeff, did you think that we were trying to sell you something? Were you getting a spam call before?
No, I was actually in a meeting at work, and the phone signals are bad here. So anyways, when I looked at my text and I saw the messages, and I text back, and then finally got a signal here, and then called you guys.
I love it. I love it. Can I tell you how I feel about meetings at work, Jeff? Especially meetings on Friday afternoon. Like, you should just not go. You know that, right?
I hear you.
That'll teach you to go to a meeting, Jeff Wenzel. All right. Where did you buy your ticket? When did you buy your ticket?
I actually bought it online this morning. Literally online on your website.
Come on. Just this morning, you got in on the draw. Now, because why did you buy it just this morning?
I was going to buy one the whole time, and then it popped up that the draw was going to be later today. I'm like, I better do it now, or else I'm not going to get in on it. So here we go. And then I was, I went for the bigger ticket to get, and here we are. Paid off.
So which ticket did you buy?
The $100 one.
$100 you put down just this morning. You just turned $100, Jeff, into $121,000. What do you think of that?
That's amazing.
How did you hear about the raffle?
I actually met you before through a few community events. So I've kind of followed your stuff, and I've bought your beer before that Block 3 puts out the Face for Radio.
Yeah, you have.
Yep. So I kind of know of you through the community and met you a few times at Block 3 and mutual friend Scott Willard. So
Wait a minute. You and Scoots are friends?
Yeah, I've known Scott since I was 16.
Oh, my gosh. I should have known by the Wenzel last name. You're out there in the townships, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, not Elmira. I'm a Kitchener fella, but...
Attaboy. So we must have then, at some point over the years, Jeff, been at Block 3 at the bar at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I be so bold as to say next time I see you there, the beer's on you?
Absolutely.
Jeff, thank you. Thank you for following along with all of the silliness, and congratulations on winning $121,000 plus.
Thank you very much. Super excited.
You are most welcome, sir. Thank you for supporting the cause. Cystic Fibrosis will be in touch with you to get all of the details sorted out. So skip the next, please. Just take Monday off. Can we take Monday off? What do you think?
I got to go talk to my boss right now.
Attaboy. You tell him Farwell, and you have a date at Block 3, okay? And so Cystic Fibrosis will be in touch, and we'll make sure you get that big fat check, $121,770.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Jeff. Congratulations, my friend. There you go, Jeff Wenzel. He bought his ticket this morning. Look, it's computerized. It's not like it was at the top of the drum or anything. But congratulations. And how do you like that? A fellow blockhead. That's what we call one another at Block 3. It's okay. Everybody appreciates it. And Jeff and I have tipped elbows at the same time, because why wouldn't we? Great craft beer. And Block 3, another huge supporter, like a day one business/corporate sponsor on our Farwell for Hire fundraising. They have been making Face for Radio IPA for 10 years now. 10 years. And again, this year, they made it. We're going out there on Sunday to pick up our check from the proceeds of the sales this month. And I'm sure Jeff participated in those proceeds. Let's go back to the phones, talk to more people today. It's a good day to talk to people. Sarah, good afternoon.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional. So my son just got diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. He's 5 weeks old.
Oh.
They just diagnosed him last week. But I just wanted to thank you for everything you do. And I know you've been doing it for many years, but the doctor at McMaster was telling us that one of the reasons that he will have a much higher life expectancy and quality of life is because of all the research. I'm sorry, I didn't think I would be so emotional, but he said because of all the research and the new medication and new treatments, his life will be so different even than 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I really appreciate everything that you're doing to raise money and awareness.
Sarah, thank you for that. And let me tell you that we got you, okay? Because this is a tight-knit community of cystic fibrosis patients and families, and we're here for you. And I know how hard this is at this point for sure. And 5 weeks, gosh, bless his heart. What's his name? First name? Can I ask?
Yeah, his name is Omar. I actually have 3 other children. We had no idea we were carriers.
Isn't that always the way? Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Omar.
They said 25% chance, so he's the 4th, I guess.
That's what they say.
That's how it worked out.
That 1 in 4. We had a family of 5, and 2 of 5 ended up with it. So there you go. Sarah, well
thank
listen,
you again.
You are most welcome, and let's stay in touch. And I mean, welcome to the family is not. It's not the kind of family you want to, be a part of necessarily. But I promise you that we've got you, and we're going to continue fundraising, and we'll make sure Omar has a really nice, long, and healthy life. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye bye. It's why we do what we do. It's as simple as that. The Mike Farwell Show continues. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Hey, the day's not done quite yet. We've got time left in our talkback hour to hear from you. 519-570-2545. Star 570. 1-800-570-5715. JB, good afternoon.
Happy Friday, sir.
Happy Friday, buddy.
Does this mean the drive to 1.5 is hit?
Well, listen. I mean, I hate to let cats out of the bag, but buddy, the drive for 1.5
tells me that you probably raised $30,000 on your own with your jobs.
30? What are you trying to sell me short? Dude, we did minimum. Dude, settle down. We did $5,000 yesterday. Listen, Farwell for hire never sleeps. Okay,
so, I know. I've been contributing since day one. I know.
Yes, we were hoping to raise $150,000 this year to get to $1.5 million overall. We just got $121,000 in. I'm going to let you in on a secret. You promise not to tell?
I won't. I can't. Okay. I can't speak for the other 43, but you know.
Okay. And my beloved's she's rolling her eyes already. But I'm going to tell you this. Please don't tell her I told you. But we might be in campaign record-setting territory here.
Amazing.
Because what was it? 2021, 20? I can't remember. Anyway,
the year we did the bottle drive.
I think that was the year. I know. Don't even bring up the number one rule of bottle drive, James, is to never talk about bottle drive again. But that year, I think it was bottle drive year. We raised just over $223,000 total.
Yeah.
So 120 here, and I'm not joking. I've been hustling. Like my poor little patootie is a little bit smaller. And I think we might be close. We might be really damn close to a record-setting campaign. So,
well, I'm real proud of you. Proud to call you a friend. Proud to have contributed all these years, and I can't wait to see what we keep doing.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Care.
All right, bud. Yep, JB, my good buddy. He was a day oneer on this campaign, and I know JB's not the only day oneer on this campaign. Grant, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. I won't ask you how you're doing because everyone's already asked you.
Okay.
And you did a challenge with Morty's, then you should do a challenge with, I told you about this pizza place that has baked fish. It's hot, and you should do a challenge either next year, half a pound. I don't know if you had anything to drink.
Of spicy baked fish?
Yeah.
Okay.
So did you have anything to drink while you were eating your...
No, I had some yogurt to try to cut the heat a bit.
Then you should do the same thing with this fish. It's the most amazing fish, but without any dipping sauce.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
All right, it's pretty hot. Okay. Can you mind if I quote Crash Davis and Bull Durham for a moment here? I think my entire life can be summed up at various points in that movie. But Grant is already talking about the next challenge. Can I have a moment here? Like we just gave away we raised $121,770 for cystic fibrosis. I'm feeling good, man. Like I'm feeling so good right now. I mean, I'm going out this afternoon right after the show to continue more Farwell for hire with big league movers. You guys wait. I'll show you a big league mover. But that's can I enjoy the moment? And as Crash Davis would tell me, moment's over. Time to get back to work and raise more money for cystic fibrosis. So, okay, Grant, I will consider I'll consider your challenge. Like Jiminy Christmas. 5 minutes. The moment's over, Farwell. Remember? Nuke Lelouch comes off the mound, he strikes out the side. And he gets to the dugout, and he's very happy. And Crash Davis comes into the dugout, played by Kevin Costner in Bull Durham, tells him that his curveball was hanging, his fastball was high. In the show, they would have lit you up for that. And Nuke says, "Can I just enjoy the moment?" And Crash says, "The moment's over." So I got you, Grant. Right back to work I go. I am not yet done raising money for cystic fibrosis research because we have not yet found a cure. But the $121,000 we just raised in a 50-50 raffle, that's going to help. That's going to help a lot. Fief, good afternoon.
Dude, Mike, first of all, that Sarah, the Sarah call.
Oh, my gosh. Did you get you right in the hearts? The feels.
Yeah, I almost cut my balls out just, driving.
Yeah.
That was, wow. I feel bad for Omar. Oh, man. I hope he becomes okay. And I thought you were gone. I was like,
no, I'm just listening to you.
Oh, and I was just gonna say, you went the Farwell 50-50 went from 167,000 to 242.
243 is where it went up over. What did it go? Like $80,000 in a day, almost 75.
Wow, that is incredible, man! Congrats to you and everything.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you for everything you do, man.
All right, Afif. Thank you. But listen, again, it's not like I sold every ticket. We just wanted you bought them. So give yourself a pat on the back and remember that you are helping Omar have a healthier life, because Sarah called earlier this hour and talked about a 5-week-old in our community now born with cystic fibrosis. Here we go. It's not done yet. It's not done yet, but Omar is going to have a better life thanks to you. The Mike Farwell Show continues, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We've got some time left together before we turn you over to Rob Snow with Now You Know for your Friday afternoon. Lisa, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Oh, Lisa, you genius, you.
I told you, Mike.
You said yesterday, ask your Leaf fans to come through for you, and if we get to 200,000 in the jackpot, you can take off that ugly sweater.
That's right. That's right. Congratulations. Good job.
How did you know, Lisa? How did you know they would come through like they did?
Honestly, Mike, that's just nasty to have to wear that, and so many people had sympathy for you. I just knew that was the secret. So I'm really, really happy for you. I'm really impressed with the community to bring that much in. So good job.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for the inspiration yesterday.
Okay. Have a great weekend, Mike.
You too. Bye-bye. I thought I would start the show today still wearing that ugly sweater and then watch the jackpot go up and eventually be able to take off the ugly stuff. I did not even have to start the show with that ugly stuff on today. We reached 200,000 before the show started, finished at over 243,000 in the overall jackpot, and Jeff Wenzel won $121,770. And that's also how much money we get for cystic fibrosis research. Love it. Michael, good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Farwell, good afternoon. How are you today?
Oh, no. I was better until I answered this call.
Oh, no. Did you get my package that I left you?
There was a package that came in from you today, yes. I'm sorry, I've been kind of distracted with many other things going on.
I'm sure you will enjoy it. It has some very, very interesting treats in there.
I can't wait.
And congratulations on the fine work that you're doing. I'm sure your mother is proud.
Thank you, Mr. Dowling. I appreciate that.
Yes, and I will continue to let you know that, as I said before, the Leafs will never, ever, ever win the Stanley Cup before we die.
Mr. Dowling, why do you want to hurt me today? Why? I was having a good day.
I know you were, but, with the good comes bad. With the good comes bad.
All right, sir. Thank you.
You take care of yourself now. Thank you, too.
Okay, bye now. Mr. Dowling was one of my high school teachers, and he continues to rub it in. And I guarantee you, what's in that box sitting on the floor of the studio here is something to make fun of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'll get to it later. For now, I'm going to continue trying to enjoy this moment. Greg, you get the last word today.
Okay, I'll be quick about it, but, congratulations, and that's been a fun morning listening. Just one thing I learned, I guess there was some kind of drug mentioned with that Phoebe rep.
Trikafta.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. Now, is that a control or is that a cure?
It's a control. It's a control.
It's a control, but it's expensive, and not everybody can.
Nope, we got it. It's covered now. The Ontario government's covering it. We've done very well on the advocacy front, so most patients are now have it available to them.
Okay, that's right. As usual, I knew nothing about it at all, so learned something new every day. So that was good to hear that there's at least something, because I thought there was absolutely nothing out there.
No, that's what all this money that we've raised, more than $1.5 million in this community, Greg, has helped us get there.
So it's gotten that far, and then they're going to get farther yet to actually use the word cure soon.
I hope so. That's the word I want to use.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. All right.
Okay,
congrats. See you later.
Thanks, Greg. Great to hear from you. Terrific note to end on. We had ourselves a month, and you know what? When the calendar turns to June, we're going to come back here on Monday and do the same old thing. Talk about the issues of the day, have a little bit of fun along the way, and who knows, in 11 months or so, we might bring back another 50-50 raffle. Now you know with Rob Snow coming up until 3. My name is Mike Farwell. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.